The pioneers, members of the third Aliyah, were very young, mostly under 20, unmarried, with demands towards no one but themselves. Thanks to the youthful enthusiasm which burned within them, they succeeded in transforming the grim reality of back-breaking hard labor into the main experience of the era.
We transformed the privation into an ideology, into something desirable. What? No bread? I'm not hungry. No shoes? Never mind. I like walking barefoot. Our lack became an ideal, and even more, we were not ashamed of it. On the contrary, it was something we flaunted.
The image of the period was commemorated in numerous photographs. White tents amid bare, rock-strewn hills, the diametric opposite of what the pioneers left behind in the diaspora. These young men had just left their bourgeois parents' homes and were now ready for all kinds of hard labor. The girls were ashamed to work in the kitchen and demanded the right to help smash rocks into gravel.
It was back-breaking work. We weren't used to such hard labor, but all our strength, all our enthusiasm was directed towards this ideal. The evenings were truly unique. We spent time with books, reading. We read a lot: philosophy, a bit of political science, psychoanalysis, Russian literature, Dostoevsky, Gorky, Tolstoy. There were moments every night when people would burst into a confession of their past, telling their personal views about life, mankind, eternity. There were moments of tears, moments of laughter, moments of emotion which transcended the gray daily life. It was a very special sort of spiritual banquet.
All self-respecting people came to work on the roads. It was here that you could really feel the pulse beat of life in the land of Israel.
This was the elite of Israeli society. Anyone who wanted to claim a prestigious address would say, for example, me, I'm from Tabcha Tzemach, or me, I'm from Haifa Jeddah. Those were good addresses, just as today one might say Savyon or Kfar Shmaryahu. If someone lived in Tel Aviv or Haifa, he wouldn't be too happy about mentioning his address. It was a bit degrading. All the elite was there. There were also differences among the roads themselves. Certain places were considered the most aristocratic. The Haifa Jeddah Road, Tveria Tzemach, which had a labor brigade, Migdal. Those were truly unique locations.
Here at the Tiberias Tzemach Road, the most famous address of all, an event took place during 1920 which had a marked impact upon the entire period. On a hill alongside the Tiberias Hot Springs, several young people convened to establish the Labor Brigade. These were the valiant heroes of the Third Aliyah. They organized in platoons like soldiers in an army of labor, prepared to fulfill all missions of building the land.
I didn't want a home. As I told you, I wanted to be in Tel Yosef today, Tel Aviv tomorrow, and in the Haifa Brigade the next day. Then, another day, up at Givat HaChotzvim together with Yitzchak Sadeh. I was all over the country, building the entire country, not building Degania, not building Yavniel. Perhaps it's foolish. If there were no one to settle stubbornly in Yavniel, then it would not exist. That isn't foolishness, but there was an illusion that one could not be tied down to one place. The brigade took in everybody.
More than any other pioneering group, the Labor Brigade expressed the spirit of the Third Aliyah and the dual ideal of Zionism and socialism, which declared, if there is an opportunity to create a new society from the very beginning, then let us create a better one. Let us reject the evils of the capitalistic world and establish an ideal society with neither poor nor rich people, in which all earn their living from the fruits of their labors and meticulously uphold the equitable distribution of goods.
Complete partnership, socialism in its most extreme form, realized not only as a regime, but as a society, as an expression of people's desires and ambitions to live in a new, egalitarian and just society.
This partnership that you speak of was such that I had nothing of my own. Neither my shirt nor my underwear was my own. I wore them, but they were not my property. They belonged to the commune. Tomorrow, someone else might wear them.
The writer, Yosef Chaim Brenner, visited the Chalutzim at the Tiberias Tapcha Road and taught them the Hebrew language and literature. This pessimistic man, author of Failure and Bereavement, was encouraged by the sight of these once pampered young men and women who left their secondary studies to quarry stones in the blazing sun. This filled his heart with the hope that all was not lost and that perhaps there was indeed a future for Zionism. Brenner was a prominent spokesman for the Labor Zionist ideology, which declared that neither Herzl's Jewish liberation nor Achad Ha'am's Jewish Renaissance were sufficient. Rather, the goal of Zionism is to bring about a change in values, a psychological revolution to restore the nation to its best. According to this outlook, hundreds of years of study and trade had marred the Jewish soul, alienating it from nature and labor. Physical work was therefore not to be viewed as inferior in respectability or merely as a demand of reality, but rather as the epitome of morality. Return to labor is the cure for all the ills of exile and will transform the Jews into normal human beings.
I'll tell you how it was. First of all, a revolt against all that was yesterday. It didn't matter what kind of home you grew up in. You didn't at all want what there had been yesterday, but rather something entirely different. To build things up by yourself, to do things yourself. And another thing, we all grew up in cities, large and small, but that didn't matter. The truth was not to be found in the city, but in the field, at work. That's where the truth was.